Let's start with the one about doership. I guess we will be going into those more later, but I want to take up at least a few things from there. So you just said that no karma phala, no fruit of any action that the doer does is ever going to fulfill you.
I can't get you, Julius. It's not very clear. Can you repeat?
No fruit of any action that the doer does is ever going to fulfill you. When you give up your identity as the doer, as the actor, what is left is the truth. So is this just a matter of like instantly realizing it, or is there a process to it? Am I still not audible?
No, you're audible. You're audible. I'm getting you. Yeah.
So these two statements,
It is something to be seen. It is there in the very process of living itself. So if you are asking, what is the process of liberation from doership? Then the process of liberation is the process of living. What is it that we usually call as living or life? Incessant desire. A continuous flow of desire is what one usually calls as life, right? And one way of calling someone as dead is when the fellow can no more desire, right? That's one very central characteristic of a dead person. He's not going to desire anymore. Which means that life and desire, in the usual sense, are inseparable. If you are alive, you are desiring. So what do? You see what happens of the desire. And that's commonsensical. Is that not? One invests himself into a desire, time, energy, money, everything, emotions, all else that one has. Does it not behove to know what happened to that investment? Or do you just invest your resources and forget them? You don't do that, right? You want to know, you want to keep a record, you want to have a meter, a tracker, a dashboard, something. You want to know what happened to those investments. That's the process of living, which, if observed, becomes the process of liberation. The process of living itself becomes the process of liberation if you are observing the process of living, which is life, which is desire. Observe your desire and you will be liberated of the desire. You cannot desire something, Julius, without being fascinated by an imagination with respect to its results, right? Nobody desires an object ever. What you desire is the experience that the object will give you.
actually, would this also be the case with thought and some kind of a idea of what the spiritual process would be like? That you could have an idea.
All that is anyway happening. There is no thought free of desire. There is no excursion into spirituality sans an image, sans a desire. Nobody moves into whatever you call as a spiritual field without first having some image, some idea of what it's going to be like and what one's going to get from that. So that's not at all different from the desire that you have when you go to a dentist or when you go to a shopping mall. Fundamentally, these are the same things. You go to a guru or a temple or a church, and you go to a dentist and you go to a marketplace. These are not fundamentally different things. The usual process of life, we said, is necessarily the process of desire. Does not matter the object you are going to. You are going there because you seek an inner experience of fulfillment. That's the fundamental desire. So first of all, language is at fault when we say that a particular object is being desired. Nobody desires any object. Nobody desires any object. All that we desire is our own fulfillment through that object. The object is always the medium. But if language were to clearly enunciate that the object is merely a medium, then we will have to turn inwards. Because if the object is merely a medium, we would have to acknowledge that the real thing that we want is within. Through that medium, through that object, we desire inner fulfillment, right? So that inner fulfillment word, that phrase, will have to become significant. And somehow we have not wanted that. We do not want it to be known that we do not desire any object, we just demand inner fulfillment. We do not want that to be known. We do not tell that to our kids. We talk of objects as important. They are not. They're just not. We want something from them. So when you observe the process of desire, you find yourself having gotten close to a lot of objects, having laid your hands on a lot of objects, having possessed a lot of objects, and yet the inner fulfillment has not happened. And when you see that, that's when you are liberated from the usual process of desire. You see that it is ineffective. You drop it not because it is evil or unholy or whatever. You drop it just because it is ineffective. It does not work. What's wrong with running after an object? The simple answer is it's an inefficient investment of my resources. That's what is wrong. Nothing religious or spiritual or moral about it. Simple economics. Running after something is a very inefficient investment of my life, energy, time, resources, and that's what you see spirituality is. Life economics. We talk of material economics. In the name of economics, all that we study is material stuff. Spirituality is life economics. You don't just have stuff in your wallet, you have stuff in your heartbeat. There is stuff in your wallet that is numbered and finite. Equally, the number of heartbeats that you have are very finite. So spirituality is life economics. What to do with these limited number of heartbeats that you have? What to put your life into? If you put your life into desire, that's an inefficient investment. It does not give you what you want from it. The ROI is very bad. So you observe that, and that observance itself is liberation.
I guess it feels that the process, it feels like an incremental thing that you find yourself running after objects less and less. Because at least for these few weeks, the Gita has been very, reading it has been very, I don't know if fulfilling is a good word here, but you get what I mean. And then also for some reason, what I have read in the Gita has also led me back to Nisargadatta. I started from him, this whole thing. And I actually wanted to ask something about him, because sometimes it feels like that, well, you know his style. He's not very compromising, and he doesn't really come down to the particulars. And then when I read him, I always feel like, no, I'm so happy reading all this, and then I come to Acharya and Acharya will spoil my fun, you know. But for some reason, when I read him, it's just somehow, it feels like that's where my love really is, you know. That's kind of like absolute drive and love for transcendence. It feels so stupid to say that because, well, not even stupid, it's just honest. But for some reason, it feels like I'm not allowing myself to really love it.
Without that, he will not help. He's not going to go out of his way to help you. He's succinct, brief, in fact, terse. And he's direct to the point of being curt. He's not going to cater to your weaknesses. He just says what he has to in one sentence. In 5 sentences, he is not going to answer you for an hour or something. And he was notorious for kicking people out of his little place, especially Westerners. because they would not understand his ways. Not too many people came to him anyway. But of the few that came to him, there were very few who were able to get some benefit from him. Because you need to be very surrendered, very open, and very, very ready to benefit from him. And he had no desire to be famous as a guru. He did not want to start an institution. The very upliftment of humanity or such things were not his stated goals. He remained anonymous for most of his life. Before someone from Europe came and translated his... it's not even about translation. First of all, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman. First of all, he recorded...
Maurice Friedman.
First of all, he recorded what he had to say, and then he put it in one of the European languages, I suppose Dutch.
Yeah, I think that was English right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning? Was it English?
I think it was.
Okay. And then from there, he gained some popularity. And that was quite at the fag end of his life. You know, such people, they live contented within themselves. And what obviously they offer you is pure wisdom, very precious jewels. But because they want nothing from you at all, therefore they will not try at all to please you. The responsibility is all yours to strive and learn from them. But if you can indeed learn from him, it's a blessing. There are places where he'll strike your insides like a thunderbolt. So it's beautiful to be with him. And if you are with him, please continue to be. At times he will appear very unintelligible. So do not feel bored or repulsed and drop him then. Show some patience and continue to be with him.
There's actually one thing, going back to the running after objects for fulfillment, the way Nisargadatta has stated it, in some places is that he says that consciousness itself is the first trap, that you will never find fulfillment in consciousness. And this has been an immense help to me, because sometimes it feels like that without putting it that directly, you leave yourself some kind of space to still try something, even in a very subtle way. But if you just realize that all this appearance has never given fulfillment to anyone, that it's prior to it, at least that's how he puts it, that somehow makes it very straightforward.
Yeah, it is very straightforward. You don't even need to take a long, winding explanation. Consciousness is simply you and the world. The basic game of duality, you and the world. So consciousness will not fulfill you. All that it means is that the objects will not fulfill you. That's something that you have known since many, many years. But it's good when it comes to you in another world. So objects cannot fulfill you, fine. The world cannot fulfill you, fine. The world is your projection, fine. When that is stated sometimes in another word, consciousness cannot fulfill you, that appears quite exotic. And if that helps, wonderful.
You know, earlier, I think I was afraid to come to you because I wanted to hide myself. And now it feels like I'm afraid to come to you because you're just so magnetic somehow. It feels like that if I come too close, then I can't stop coming close, you know.
Yes, poetry is good as long as it serves truth. Otherwise, poetic expressions can be counterproductive. All this is just imagery and a lot of image making, no? A lot of euphemisms. If I come close, I can't stop coming close.
No, but isn't that what you said, that ultimately it's love that kills the ego? Isn't this about that or something?
So what's there ultimately is for the ultimate, right? It's not for the one who is far from the ultimate. Ultimately, when the ego will be killed by love, that ultimate kind of love for the ultimate kind of ego would be something very tempting, very inviting, very sweet, very acceptable. But right now, that ultimate kind of expression is being heard by a not so ultimate kind of ego. And this ego will misuse that ultimate expression. Ultimately, a lot of things are there. Ultimately, nothing is there. Ultimately, when the ultimate is not there. So, why talk of what's going to ultimately happen? Leave all that. Just do what is to be done today. I don't know. I've never thought of the ultimate or anything. It it it. I could have said it. It sounds like apostasy, but it just doesn't sound sensible. There is enough of the day to take care of. How do I think of the timeless? And the timeless will not admit me if first of all I have not cleaned my vessels and dried my clothes and done my bidding. He says you are admitted to the party only first of all when you have finished your daily chores. Who am I to talk of that when I am found wanting in this? I try to keep myself busy with this. I don't try. Life is such that it pounces at you from all sides and keeps you occupied, and giving the right response to daily life situations. That's all that there is to life, and that is sufficient. You don't have to think of the ultimate. You could put it in your poetic way. The ultimate is immediate. Or the immediate is the ultimate. Full stop.
Maybe that's a good statement. Wrap this up.
Welcome.